Coming up on the Paper Talk today, we'll be talking about Marcus Rashford, of course. It looks like the club and Marcus are going to draw a line under it. We'll get into all that. There's been a statement released, as I'm sure you're aware of. Also, we'll be looking at what could be happening to one of our young players. He could be going out on loan to Spain. Could someone else be coming in from Spain? Could we be making any moves this January? Are we going to buy anyone in the summer? Are we going to buy a defender? Are we going to buy an attacker? Let's find out. Jay here for Stretford Paddock. This is the Paper Talk. As you can see, I'm outside Old Trafford and it's a bit nippy, so make sure you've got your parkers on. Loads of stories to get through, so we'll crack on. Before we get onto them though, make sure you are hitting like, share and subscribe. We're going to be chatting a little bit about potential incomings and outgoings. Looks like we could be in for a defender, could be in for a right winger as well. So it looks like some moves that Manchester United could be making in the summer, I hasten to add. Also, potential outgoings too. We'll get into all that. First of all, though, let's talk about Marcus Rashford. A statement was released from Manchester United last night. Last night a statement was released saying that basically Marcus has taken responsibilities for his actions. This has been dealt with as an internal disciplinary matter, which is now closed. And apparently he's going to be available for the game against Wolves on Thursday. So the club have released a statement. We know that he had this meeting with the manager yesterday, and I think his agent was there. There's also his brother, Carrington. It's been dealt with. There's talk of him getting a fine. I think we had it yesterday that it was a 2-week fine, around 650k. Shows what money he's on. If I do the maths, that's 325k a week. And now it's closed, and hopefully we can all move on. Can we move on though? We'll have to wait and see. Well, I want to move on. I want to get on with, supporting Manchester United. I think for Marcus Rashford though, if he wants to fully move on and get the fans on board, just show it in your performances. That's what counts. Listen, you've made a mistake. You've held your hands up. You took responsibility. A lot of people still be annoyed with him, still be angry with him, still be questioning him. I get all that. But if you put in performances between now and the end of the season, people will forget about it. Starting with Wolves. The Wolves game is a big game. And if you're picked for that game, because I still don't know if he's going to be, but if you're available, if you're picked, then you need to show it in your performances. You need to start, I know it's a cliche, letting your football do the talking. There's too much nonsense and drama going on at Manchester United at the minute. And it'd be great if we could just see players getting on with the job at hand, which is getting Manchester United into those Champions League spots, hopefully winning us the FA Cup as well, and making this a successful season. And if you don't really feel it under this manager, if you're not quite feeling his tactics or whatever, I don't care. You should still give your all. You should still play as hard as you can and play as well as you can for Manchester United, for the badge and for the fans as well. So yeah, let's hope that Marcus Rashford and the rest of the team can put in a performance against Wolves this Thursday. Just on the Rashford front before I fully move on, because I do want to move on, because I'll be honest with you, I'm sick of talking about it. We've seen the sort of reaction from the newspapers. You've seen it on the front page of The Sun, hashtag Don't Buy The Sun, which is the second successive day they've had a front page about a footballer and his misdemeanours. Yesterday it was Kyle Walker giving his sob story about fathering some children or whatever it was. Then today you've got this about Marcus Rashford on his 12-hour tequila bender. And it's just like, really? There's bigger things going on in the world than this nonsense. So let's just move on from it, to be honest with you. It just annoys me that we give these papers fuel, or that Marcus is giving these papers fuel with what's happened. But I said I'd draw a line, I don't want to move on, so let's do that. Let's talk about some transfers, We've not spoken about transfers for a little while because we've been so wrapped up in other stuff. In terms of outgoings, Ornstein this morning, I think it was this morning, late last night, talking about Facundo Pellistri going to Granada. Could be a loan move there this January till the summer. 22 years old now, Pellistri. It's another loan move. He's already had a few, hasn't he? Or a couple. I question it, really. Not his loan move, but just what does the future hold for Facundo Pellistri? Because he's not a kid, is he? He's not a kid. I know he's a young player, a young lad. But you felt like this season might have been his opportunity to get into that United first team. Mason Greenwood isn't here. I'm going to get to him in a minute. Also, Antony's been massively underperforming. Jadon Sancho isn't here. He's gone on loan to Dortmund. Now's your chance, if you're Facundo Pellistri, to get in that first team, to make a statement and get yourself in the manager's thoughts. And he hasn't really done that. Now, I like the kid. He seems like a decent young lad. I met him at Carrington. My lad went down there to meet a couple of players, him and Garnacho, and he seemed like a nice lad. But in terms of the quality, is it quite there? Is he the player that you can start on that right-hand side of a front three and he's going to help you in a title push or help you get into the Champions League or whatever? I'm not quite so sure, and I think the fact he's going out on loan again indicates the manager isn't really feeling him. Let me know what you think in the comments. I've got nothing against Palestra, but the fact he's going out on loan again makes me think that this might be the beginning of the end for his time at Manchester United Football Club, going to Granada. Now, speaking of Granada, they were beaten last night by Getafe, and a certain Mason Greenwood scored a goal. Now, you might say, Jay, what are you talking about Mason Greenwood for? He's on loan at Getafe. What's that got to do with anything? We know that Mason Greenwood is always going to be a hot topic at Manchester United. We know, or I think, the door isn't fully closed on whether he's going to return to Manchester United. And if he scores goals, people are going to say, which they were last night when I saw it on social media, that he should return to Manchester United. Now, that's another debate for another day. We don't yet definitively know what the future holds for Mason Greenwood. There's talk of him going to Barcelona. There's rumours that maybe Ineos might be willing to have him back at Manchester United and may encourage the manager to do so. It looks like Erik ten Hag was willing to have him back in the squad when we had that story that was broke by Adam Crafton, I think it was, at The Athletic, earlier this season, where it looked like the club were gearing towards bringing him back into the team. So you thought the manager must have been on board with that. So we don't know, do we, really? If we're going to be honest, we'll have to wait and see. But if he keeps scoring goals, then this topic is going to keep coming up. So let us know what you think about it in the comments, as always. Jared Branthwaite has been linked with Manchester United. I saw this in the Standard. They're saying that a £40 million bid could be going in for Branthwaite from Everton. That could be happening in the summer, though. It's unlikely that's going to happen in January. It doesn't look like we're going to do much business in January. We'll be speaking to Dharmesh Seth about that this week. Obviously, it's transfer deadline day, I think, on Thursday. So we haven't got much time left to do anything if we want to. If we are going to bring anyone, it's probably going to be a free transfer or a loan move. But at the moment, it's all gone quiet, hasn't it? It's all gone quiet on the Western Front. Doesn't look like much is happening at all. In terms of the summer, there's a lad we could be in for from Real Sociedad. Takefusa Kubo. This is the young right winger, Japanese right winger from Real Sociedad. I think he's got about 6 goals and 3 assists in 18 games in La Liga this season. He's doing bits. He's dubbed the Japanese Messi. Yeah, I don't know much about him. I've seen some YouTube clips. I've seen his stats. Looks like a decent player. Deportivo Mundo, or Mundo Deportivo, who've been reported in the Manchester Evening News as saying he'd be available for 51 million quid in the summer. Whether we've given up on Ante, whether we bring Mason Greenwood back, whether Facundo Palestra has a future at the club, whether Jadon Sancho has a future at the club, I don't know. But if none of those things are true, if none of them do, then maybe we look to someone like Kubo when he comes in and he's the answer to our problems on that right-hand side. Looks like a very tricky, skillful, goal-scoring winger. Decent numbers, not amazing, but decent. We'll have to wait and see. Get involved in the comments and let us know if you know much about him, because I can barely get his name right, if I'm being brutally honest. So forgive me. Going to wrap it up there. Got a load of other videos up already, obviously, and coming up too. Going to be previewing the Wolves game. Myself and Joe Smith will be looking ahead to that one. We had the Paddock podcast yesterday where myself, Joe Smith and Ronaldo Brown were chatting about all things Manchester United related. And if you want to put yourself through, no, not put yourself through anything, but if you still not got over the epic 4-2 win over Newport, you can go and check out some post-match reactions on that. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up there. Make sure you are hitting like, share and subscribe. I've been Jay Motti. This has been The Paper Talk outside a pretty cold Old Trafford. Thanks for watching.